Yo, yo, yo. Can y'all hear me? Broadcasting live from the Method Made Design Lab. Greetings, and thank you for joining us for this episode of the Method Makers Podcast. In this episode, we'll be taking a journey into the Pipe City dreams of one of the Bay Area's sickest artists, sicker than COVID-19, sicker than death by coronavirus, sicker than your favorite artist, OG, Big Rig Trucker, Style Biters Beware, Method Maker, and one of the Nosebleed Crew's finest, Mr. TK All Days. We'll be diving deep into what it's like to create art as an anonymous artist, his background creating music in his early years, his childhood growing up in Pipe City, how this shows up in his work, his family struggles with battling hard times. Fast forward today, what it's like to be a big rig trucker, the effects of COVID-19 and business and overcoming these challenges. We'll also be talking about how he stays creative, pushes the envelope forward, and for the creators and generations to come, what to do to stay creative. So without further ado, father, artist, good dad, better husband, creator extraordinaire, TK All Days. Some stuff creatively, right? We'll get started there. I think I saw on your Instagram you were working on a commission for a local business. Yeah.
Yeah. That's for a friend's boba shop. We just, he asked me to do some paint and stuff. And so, it's good. I'm just still learning that, and then trying to get good with different things. I'm usually doing stuff on paper, so now I'm gonna try to bring paper onto the wall. So
yeah. I've seen some of your we've been out on a few adventures before. Like I've seen I think you and the homie V were painting something, this is years ago. I think the homie V and you were out painting in a friend's garage, and then I've seen you like do some commission work for other businesses. There was like a Bob Marley piece that I remember seeing?
Yeah, that was at a friend's spot. So
okay,
yeah, I did that. That was the actually first wall with D, and that was cool. That was fun, good times.
Yeah, and then I remember your son and the homie V was telling me about this. You guys went out to Oakland at one point. Was it after a show or something? And there was like this abandoned spot or something. You guys were catching tags, and it was fun. It's like a family affair or something. He was saying.
Yeah. That was like under somewhere in Oakland, like under like an overpass, and it would just. Okay. It was like a little door we went in through, and then it was wide open, just full of art. It was just a different, atmosphere over there. It was pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope.
Just,
Shout out to the Method Makers, Method Makers family for connecting us. First of all, I know you've been doing some work with them for a few years now, and we're obviously blessed to have the affiliation, helping run this Method Makers podcast and being part of this group. So let's get into it. We'll talk a little bit about, your creative process. I know you've been sketching for years, and you've done a lot of different creative shit. Like, I don't think I've heard any of your albums, but you were doing music for a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about, music? Like the Method Makers has their thing called Method Makers Music, and I'm in meetings constantly with the team, and they're talking about an expansion for that. But this is about you though. We'll talk about your career in music and how that might have transitioned into illustration or vice versa. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was that was like about 20 years ago, and it was just something that we were being a bunch of homies was just in the garage drinking, and it was living in a dope era. We just we just like to freestyle and just, mess around.
Yeah.
And, some of the guys was like, hey man, let's go take it to another level. I know this guy that has a studio. I know this other guy that can make beats and everything. So we just put those things together, kind of mixed it up, and actually did some recording and actually did like maybe an LP album.
That's dope.
Just me and like two, with some guest, people. But we were like, underground, so it wasn't, nothing big. We did a couple shows, just to kind of, feel things out. We did one in San Francisco for a lawyer's daughter birthday party. We did a couple in Hawaii too, out there in Oahu.
That's dope.
So that was, yeah.
But you got to take this, don't take this lightly, because 20 years ago, for the millennials that are out there listening to this, or Generation X, I don't know what you call them now, but 20 years ago was not as easy to make a beat as it is today. Like, we're not talking about 1 minute beats. We're talking about, you got to get into the studio, you got to get your mixer, you got to get all your shit set up in order for something to happen. It's not like beats just come out on the fly. Like, you guys are actually making some original shit. You got to get into an actual studio. We're not talking about like opening up your laptop and then plugging in, iPhone headphones and recording some shit. Like, we're talking about, you actually have to get down. And there's this like pre-social media era. So if you're trying to promote and make your shit, like, so it's a lot more respect that I have for folks that came up in our generation that actually made a name for themselves. Shout out to all the Bay Area rappers that have maintained and remained to the top of their game, like E40. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
independent.
Yep, independently, and didn't have to, it's a grind, man. It's a grind.
Yeah, a lot of different instruments were, put into place, and man, we were still using DAT tapes back then, DATs, but
crazy.
Keyboard, everything.
Talk about DATs. Like educate some of these folks. What's a DAT?
Shit, I think it was like a cassette. I don't know. It looked like a cassette.
Okay.
Like old school. It wasn't a disc or anything, but that's something that we would record the beats on, and just throw it on there, and then we'd have to throw it in the machine, and then just and then flow to that. But it was definitely different than just having something downloaded on the computer or anything.
Yep. Yep.
So every studio we went to, we'd put the beats on that, and we'd have to carry it with us, throw it in their machine, and then
you're literally laying down
and then
tracks.
Just go from there.
Yep. Like literally laying down tracks.
Yeah. And we had some people come in, doing live guitar. It just, nothing like live music. So, that was one thing that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I would say
but
the revival of that, like, if you have that somewhere in your archive, like, I'm when it comes to like creativity, I'm a historian of that shit. Like, if you look at any of the shit I've worked on the past 2 decades, I have most of it. I actually have the earliest creative thing I have, like an actual piece. There's this diorama from 4th grade, and it's got the peace sign, and it's made with like fish, the shit that's at the bottom of the fish tank, like it's glued and shit. Like I'll post the photo onto Method Made Design Lab on our Instagram at some point. Because, the mission for world peace, like, that's something that's really, like, important to me, like, at the heart. I cuss and shit, and I say fuck, bitch, and pussy hoe and shit like that. But, like, I really do care about world peace. But anyway.
Right.
I just cuss to, like, make people feel like it's okay to talk about world peace and say the word fuck. I try not to say pussy, too, but, I say pussy anyway.
But it's in a peaceful way, I mean, I know it's a lot of people can relate. Shoot, I hang out with truck drivers and just different people. So it's it's there.
Yeah.
It's like regular talk,
Exactly.
We talk shit, whatever, cussing.
Yep.
The kids try to refrain from that.
That's right. If you're not 18 yet, you can't say that. Jesse, if you're listening to this and you're not 18 yet, just remember, Daddy's an adult and he can say these things, okay? And Uncle TK's an adult. He can say those things. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I guess talk
It's
a little. Go ahead. What were you saying?
yeah, man. Yeah, world peace is definitely, is a positive thing. We should keep that rolling.
Yeah,
World peace, homelessness, just trying to get back on your feet, after this COVID-19 thing. I know a lot of people lost their jobs, so
yeah,
it's, just to maintain that positivity and just get back on the grind, and hopefully, slowly we can do that, through this government.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
um
I was gonna talk a little. I'm gonna jump around to a few topics, but um,
okay.
you and I had talked. God, I think it was like a year ago or something, and the method makers were trying to start more of their social change initiative, and then when we formed together, it really came to life. And I had told you about a personal story of mine that I'm still waiting to talk about publicly, but
Hmm.
you shared with me something very deep and personal. And if you decide that you don't want to share this, totally up to you. But known you for a really long time, and I had no idea that at one point your your family had to live in the car for a little bit. And
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
can you talk about that? Like, what was that like? And you know, speak on the
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. Back in the maybe like the mid 1990s. Uh, yeah, my pops had left for a little bit. And yeah, we ended up. I was still young. I was like 17 years old. And I didn't have no job. I was doing my own thing. Running around and stuff. Just being a teenager.
Yeah,
And I didn't really realize till later that the rent wasn't being paid. Because my mom couldn't hold the job, so we lost the apartment. And
yeah,
I got two other sisters, so when we lost that, we were just kind of like, shit, what we gonna do? And we had 3 months, got the eviction notice, and we had to leave with what we had, the more important stuff. So,
yeah,
and I was the only one with the car.
yeah,
Um, so we put a lot of that, we probably out for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks until we got on our feet. So, we had stuff, we lived in the car for a little bit, and then we had to find a hotel for them, and just pay, for that for at
yeah,
least 2 or 3 weeks until the government stuff kicked in. So, it was tough. It was definitely a shock and an eye opener, to try to get through that. So, I mean, if you are in that position, because I know a lot of people are, losing jobs, you just can't give up. You got to keep rolling, kind of, keep your head up, and just keep struggle. I wouldn't say struggle, but just get to where you want to be. Set a goal for yourself, man. You don't want to be, living on the street. It's not, you know, it's not the way. So, luckily, I have friends that would help me out and stuff. And some things, just to do good, you have to do some bad. I don't, I don't condone it, but you got to do what you got to do to, stay on your feet.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
yeah, man. I
but
mean,
we're in a better place now. So,
yeah. Well, what's that that experience taught you, and how does that incorporate into the work that you do today?
um, what the work that I do today kind of, I guess when I'm sketching and drawing, it kind of puts me in a meditation mode. Like, you
Yeah,
know, to be thankful of what you got. What's your next what you gonna do next. Kind of just think about stuff.
yeah,
Um, yeah, what else can I say? Like, it's just a flow. Just like some of these things, things that I draw, it just kind of flows out. Kind of
yeah,
like this little sketch that we did earlier.
yeah.
Um,
I love that shit,
that is
man.
kind of like from, yeah, right on, bro. It's kind of like it's something that came from back in the days when I was, like 11, 12 years old. Back in the 80s, I used to watch this show called Secret City Adventures. And
Okay.
this guy named his gentleman named Mark Kistler. He taught kids how to draw in 3D. You
Okay.
know, a lot of like
Oh,
Secret City,
sick.
just like a city.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so that's where a lot of that comes from. And just working, I used to work in oil refineries.
Okay.
So a lot of this pipe city work that you see me drawing
Yeah.
is it's kind of like it's a mix of both worlds. You know, oil refinery stuff and Secret City. So to me, it's a flow that I can incorporate into like animals or spiders, bees. You
Yeah.
know, little nature things that I like to see. You know,
Yeah.
as a kid. I
Yeah.
guess I'm still a kid. You know, like a bigger kid. But uh, but to me, it's like a flow. Yeah, I don't want to grow up. Shit. But
Yeah.
to me, it's a flow that you know, goes in different directions. You know, you can be a person that's combustible. You know, you could be a person that is, you know, real mellow and just chill. You know, just different people out there. And this is kind of, that flow is what, I don't know what the analogy is, kind of something that I can
Well, the imagery
relate
show
to, I guess.
it shows up in your work though. Yeah, like for sure. Like I've
Yeah.
seen, like you're talking about Pipe City. You know, we own some of your work. Have a beautiful brown lacquered board. It's got some of those flows in it. And you talk about Pipe City. I saw this amazing painting that that's well, we actually have it here in the studio that has the an actual Pipe City that you actually handed to us, and thank you for that. It's graciously sitting in our studio still, hung up on the wall. And
You're welcome.
yeah, it's amazing, man. Like the stuff that comes out of it, and the thing that we're always interested in is to learn more about your creativity, where it comes from, and we see that like the influences of the things around you that show up in your work, and it's a beautiful thing. And I think when you talk about the whole child thing, or like, you know, the connection to your youth, when we gotta get, I'll say this here on record, we gotta get a session with you and Earwig or Ecos on one of these virtual sessions and just see what kind of shit you guys come up with. It might even
Oh
be
yeah.
cool. It might even be cool to just have like these virtual sessions. Like, in fact, oh shit. So Remy and I, there was an Office Depot that is going out of business that we just happened to be at. We were in Santa Clara. I forget what we were doing, but we were driving by. Oh, we had to get dog food because Whisket needs this medicated food. We drove by, and then I was like, oh shit, 40% off of, like, up to 40% off everything going out of business, this location only. So of course, like, you wouldn't have known if you were not just driving by, right? So we walk in, and then Remy, she just loves office supplies, like geeks out on office supplies. And me as a kid growing up, dude, I loved going to the fucking art store, or going to like my mom would go to like an Office Depot kind of place, and I'd be like geeking out. You open up pens, you start writing shit, and like, you know, you're looking for paper, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of us that are in this field, like doing this shit, like as kids, I think that's why we stay doing the art that we do. And shout out to Ecos. Him and I, we vibe on like the fucking He-Man shit, like Transformers. We talk about like, you know, Robotech and shit like that. And,
old school
shit, right? Like, that's the connection, right? Like we talked about, you know, I professionally had to work a 9 to 5 and then keep my creativity going, but on the side. Like for the last 2 decades, that's the shit that I was doing. I was just, you know, every day had to grind. Like you got a day job too, right? You're a trucker, right? And you're still making amazing work. We got to make it, you know, we like, for people who feel like school is a waste of time, or feel like, this day job, whatever, like I'm gonna focus on my shit. You know, two sides of the coin. Like,
exactly.
You know, so don't knock the hustle is what I'm trying to say. Like, like I've hustled my 9 to 5 for more than 2 decades to get to where I'm at, and this is where it's taken me. And look who we're working with now. You know what I'm saying? And like the work that you're doing, you start with music, or maybe you were illustrating as a younger child also, I know you were creative before. I think like we must have talked about something like this. We're talking about early influences now, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is like this connection to our childhood. You know, when we talk about comic books, illustration, when we talk about culture references of where we grew up and the shit that we were watching, shit that we were into, a lot of us have very similar things because we grew up in the same era, right? And it's no coincidence that we're all doing method-made design lab shit because, like, we all come together. Like here, I'm gonna fucking use RZA's Wu-Tang line. We form like Voltron and make this shit happen, right?
Right.
You know, so like, and I tell Ecos like, yo, I'm Professor X. I'm just looking for Wolverine. You know what I mean? Like, like you might be Cyclops, and then he might be Gambit. You know what I mean? Like,
there you go.
Decide which X-Men you want to be. You know, and it could even expand to X Factor, X Force, the New Mutants. Like we talk about the entire universe of Marvel. And if I'm Professor X with the headphones on, like one podcast at a time, we're gonna find the Krew. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to build this global organization of method makers, aka X-Men, aka the new. Where my mutants at? Where my mutants at?
There you go, man. You see all the mutants popping up on your GPS, right?
That's right. GPS could be IG. We got to keep our ear to the street, ear to the internet.
There it is.
Yep. So
yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, man. So I'm blessed to call you part of the design lab. To and I know that the method makers are blessed to have you part of their group.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, man. And
you guys are actually a big influence too. You know, with going to that first Slapocalypse show.
Yeah.
That would kind of open my eyes and just put that pen back in my hands and and started doing all this. So that was a big spark in what I do now. So
that was a Night Owl show, right, in Oakland?
Yeah, that was a Night Owl show.
Yep. Shout out to Night Owl.
Shout out to you, man.
Yeah,
got to meet you too, man. So that was cool. I don't know if you remember me, but one of these days we'll probably meet again.
Yeah. We'll have to get a sketch session. We'll have him on the show and we'll do a virtual something. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I met a lot of people out there. Actually, it was a cool thing. So basically, Dodie was out there.
And he's in the
other
show
guys
too.
I want to show. Yeah, that's cool, man. Big influence. He's a big influence.
Yep. And we're all about bringing communities together, bringing old, new, experienced. Like I like seeing, because I feel like if you kick it with people who are better and more advanced than you, you're gonna get better too. You know what I mean? Like it's about. True. And I'm looking for we're looking for method makers. We're looking for method makers to be part of the design lab so that we can actually have, folks that are willing to teach, because these people who are at the top of their game realize that it's not about competition. It's about changing the world together, through creativity. And I feel like you stay connected to that message and that methodology. That's going to help change a lot of shit for people,
Yeah, so, definitely. Most definitely.
And you're a product of that. Like you're saying, like, a lot of these creative influences, the things that inspires you to do what you're doing today. I mean, you're a product of that and your experience shows. I mean, fuck, dude. Like I remember when you started your Instagram account and I was like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And then, 3 years later, it's like, fuck, dude, this dude's making some sick fucking shit. And I'm not even like, I say this shit a lot, not just trying to butter your bread, but yo, your fucking bread is dripping with butter. Shit's like, this is like, oh damn, there's too much cholesterol in this shit. Oh, gotta go to the doctor. I need some medicine. Yeah, arteries. I'm gonna have a heart attack. This shit's too sick.
Medication. Need medication.
Need some medication.
Oh, that's hella funny, man. But it just. I mean, for anybody else that's got a passion for drawing and art and stuff, just keep at it. I mean, you get better. It's you find your own flow to it, and that's what people recognize. Just like other artists, they have their own. They got their style, and everybody knows it. Like that's Gats, or that's that's Dodie. I know him. I know his artwork.
Yep.
But that's what I'm still trying to figure out. But I like a lot of shit, so I like to do portraits, the Pipe City thing. I'm still, I like to do everything. I like to experiment. So
Yeah. Yeah, for real. No, I think
it's
yeah, man, it's definitely about, I call it like a collective consciousness. Like we're all kind of on different forms of creativity, but we come together with this very conscious message of what we're trying to convey. And it's not
right.
ego, it's not like my shit's better than yours kind of thing, like I'm better than you or whatever. It's just like I'm in the lab creating and I want to share it with the world. And if you're down with it,
Right.
love our shit. And if you're not, you can move on to the next thing. But we're going to try and find others that are into the same thing and expand
Right.
our universe that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Puts, make the world beautiful, man. Just do some shit, just collaborate, create, just do it, man.
Yep, exactly.
No.
Yeah, that's why like I feel like we talk about the freedom of creative expression, and some people will call it vandalism, we call it graffiti, and the way that we see graffiti, the places that it shows up, man, it's like in the most rural parts of the world. West Oakland, for example, like residents of West Oakland,
right.
You might not see somebody. How many people in West Oakland you think would pay money to go into the Museum of Modern Art, or even think about that, or make a trip out to the city just to do that, if they're not hustling and trying to work. Like some people working 2 and 3 jobs don't have time for shit like that. And so the only way that they can actually see art is in their city. And so it could be a beautiful, mural that no one commissioned. It could be some graffiti. It could be even just a tag that says, "Hey, I was here." You know what I mean? And that's a reminder that there is real shit happening in the city, and you don't have to be rich to be my girl. Sorry, I was using a Prince line. It just came to my head. But yeah,
hey, Prince got some good music though.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we'll play it at the next sketch session.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, like, but I'm saying, like, like in the rural parts of let's talk about the U.S. Like in the really harsh neighborhoods, like where they don't have the time or ability to do that. Like graffiti is their gallery, and the artists that represent those neighborhoods, they're providing beauty in a space where the city ain't gonna spend money on that shit. The city spends money to clean that shit up. Why are they cleaning that shit up? Why don't they just hit up the design lab and then have one of the artists that can actually beautify the space? The money that they're paying to buff these tags and murals that people are painting for free, like they should be paying organizations like Design Lab. You know what I mean? And that's why we've formed this group, because we believe that we can beautify the city. Like, so you don't have to pay money to buff it. You're talking about city tax dollars and you're trying to fight graffiti. It's like, what are you fighting? You're fighting the creativity that God's given to one of its children, one of its artists, when, because money is energy, right? Like you put your money into something, whether it's like fixing up a car, whether it's clothing, whether it's food on the table, like you need money to survive. But if money is energy, you're putting energy into like ending creativity, and that's not cool, So I understand, like, a shop owner says, "Nah, they're tagging up my business and this and that." Like, yeah, of course, like, it's a give and take. We're not on both sides. We're not on the side of the coin where it's like we think people should destroy property. However, we are on the side of is like, you live in a city where the city don't give a fuck about you, and it's apparent to see, and yet there's garbage all over the floor. There's so many homeless people, and it's like who's the city really helping? Like, you got money to fucking paint the buff on the wall, like buff graffiti on the wall, but you ain't got money to help feed the homeless that got like socioeconomic problems, that probably suffering from dementia. They're on drugs, and they need a lot of help, And so that's why social change is a big thing for the Design Lab, and the freedom of creative expression. We talk about that because we recognize that, like, one person's art form is not going to be the same as everybody else, right? Like, you know, one person might sing, another person might sketch, another person might do graffiti. And I put those in categories because, you know, like people have a different thrill. Some people want to be like a museum artist, and I'm not knocking anybody on that. Some people want to, you know, some people want to be a culinary specialist. I'm not knocking you on that. Some people want to do porn. I'm not knocking you on that. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you ain't got AIDS, you know, as long as you ain't got no STDs, like, you know, be mindful of, you know, what you're doing.
Yeah, true.
Don't talk to my family. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we have a joke about Ron Jeremy being your father. You texted me that. I'm like, nah, Peter North is your dad. So. Shout out to Peter North.
Yeah.
I know.
There you go.
We don't know what you do, but we heard about it. Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, we you know, before we wrap up, I want to make sure that we get some time in about, you know, talking a little bit about your work, and also talking a little bit about what you've seen out there in the world, because you're out there in the world more than most people. You're actually out there driving your rig, and you're seeing people, businesses. Like, what's it been like? You know, like, have businesses been struggling? Have you been more busy? Like, what's it been like? You can talk about your day job and then maybe how it relates to the show.
Well, shoot, my job, I do delivery, so everybody's ordering online, and I mean, I'm not gonna say the company or anything like that, because
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I see a lot more, you know, business coming through. People ordering online. Some of these items we can't, you know, we can't deliver that day because, you know, the trucks are just full. So, but I mean, even with social distancing, you know, some places they want us to leave it outside. You know, then they'll bring it in later, or, you know, they don't want us going through the back of the building. They just want us to, you know, maybe deliver it to right next to the front door. You know, some people are just real, you know, paranoid, which I can understand. You know, they don't want to get sick. You know, I don't want to get sick either, because I'll be out of a job, you know, and, you know, in bad health. So, you know, just trying to keep that distance, but at the same time, you know, maintain and do that job, you know, what I'm supposed to do, you know. Just driving around, I see a lot of different places. You know, a lot of places that used to be, you know, kind of nice and real cool. I mean, there's like, I see, you know, homeless out there now. You know, maybe because people, you know, lose their jobs, like in, like, say, for an example, Santa Rosa, there's a place out there on Highway 12 where I seen a lot of, you know, a lot of tents and just people that lost their homes from that fire, you know, a while back. So the hotels piled up, and, you know, they were, you know, being moved over to a different city, you know, with porta potties and everything out there. So that was, you know, that was a trip to see that, and just, you know, you just want to help, but you know, you can't help everybody, you know, you just, what you could do, you know, maybe talk to these people, you know, maybe and try to enlighten them, or, you know, make them laugh, you know, just something to get them through the day. Because, you know, it's just, sometimes, you know, you got to take it one day at a time and just figure things out, you know. But going there, you know, rolling through there recently, looks like, you know, they might have gotten the help, because it's, you know, nice and clean now. But even like, sometimes I'm in Stockton, I see that, you know, like downtown Stockton's, that area too is, you know, pretty rough out there. But I believe it's probably been like that for a while. So, you know, the city got to put some money into this, you know, those kind of things, and, you know, get some help for these people. You know, some homes and, you know, food or whatnot.
What's up, Holmes?
So,
I don't know. No, I hear you, and I think that it makes it worse and more difficult. I mean, this period of time is just crazy, man. I was listening to, I can't remember what podcast it was, but someone was saying they call 2020 the year that you got your vision back, because not only is it 2020 vision, but it's also the time that you shape your new vision, and you use that period of time to decide where you want to be. Are you going to change the way that you see things? Maybe that's what the phrase was. It was like, I'm using 2020 to change the way that I see shit. And it's like, as a society and as like the United States in general, like there's a lot of fucked up shit. You can make a fucking list of all the fucked up shit. Like if Guinness Book of World Records had a record for the world's worst year, 2020 would probably be like up there, right? Like,
oh yeah,
you got
definitely.
a pandemic, you got a fucking president, you got a fucking Black Lives Matter movement, you got like just name like fires in California.
Fires. Yeah.
Like how many fucking people, how many famous people that like really mattered fucking died? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man, that's a trip.
you know what I mean? Like, anyway, I don't want to like start talking about all that shit. I mean, so we talk about 2020 and, you know, how do we make a difference? Like, I'm happy to say that in one of the world's worst periods of time in our history, in modern history, we started Design Lab to create world peace. You know what I mean? Like we try to make a difference by using creativity to show people what we do. And you're part of that journey, you know? So might sound like a righteous cause, but I'm just happy and thankful that you're here, man. And
yeah, good to be here, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it means a lot, honestly, to like not just myself and Remy, but also to everybody that is listening. I'm sure like it's an honor to continue to do this work, you know. And our hope is that the folks listening out there will help us spread the message, because it's important. You know, I think with the way that the world is right now, you know, let people know about the Method Makers podcast. Let people know about TK's work. And, you know, we humbly ask that you share this with everybody that you know, anyone that you think would resonate with it. You know, it's just important to us. So.
Yeah. And well, shoot, thanks for being the glue, you know, keeping all these, you know, getting all these artists together and just, you know, making things stick, you know, and just getting this thing started.
Yeah.
So it's,
well, you know, making things stick. That's what she always said. And that's what I like to do. But you know, it's only 8:19 in the morning. Early enough to make really bad dad jokes. But yeah, we in the lab. We're wrapping it up. TK, is there anything you want to say to the youth of today? Anything you want to say to anyone out there trying to make art? Anybody that, you know what I'm saying, might want to get into what you're doing right now? You got a story about, I would say, because you've been hustling for a long time, right? Like you've been on your daily grind and you're making it work, not just as an artist, but as someone who's full-time. You're a father, you're a husband. You know, we know a lot about each other because we spent a lot of time. So, so what do you got to say to anybody that's trying to make it as an artist, and, you know, maybe thinking, you know, thinking twice about doing it full-time, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said earlier, you know, just like that penny in your pocket, you got two sides. You like the coin, you gotta, you know, for me, I'm balancing a full-time job and then, you know, being a father, husband, paying the bills, and then at the other side, you know, the creative side is, you know, doing what I do and, you know, sharing it with the world, and, you know, just keep at it. It's a balance that you have to practice and kind of learn on. You know, for the young folks that's, you know, really into art, just keep doing what you're doing. Practice, learn, create, you know, keep your mind open, and, you know, get into, you know, just look at everything around you. I mean, I like to draw different things, you know, different shit. So every day, you know, I'm in, you know, when I'm out, kind of different things inspire me. So, you know, Ron Jeremy.
This
No, yeah,
eggplant is
but-
for you, Ron Jeremy.
But yeah, man, just just keep whatever you're doing, even if it's not art, going to school or whatnot. Just stay focused and do your thing.
Yeah, no, that's a good message. I think that.
Yeah.
Also remembering that this shit takes time, man. Like you're looking at two individuals that have, we won't share our ages, but we're definitely above the age of 39, and definitely have been hustling for a long time to focus on our creativity. And I would say, like, the youth of today, man, they have it better than we did. They got social media, man. Like you have a direct channel to like your influences. Like if you wanted to hit up whoever, and if they have social media, you could send a message. Like you don't even have to send an email. You could like just IG message Dave Chappelle and say, yo, I love your shit. I want to work on a project. And it might not be him that's answering you. It might be like his assistant or something. But that message will be read by somebody, And if they want to respond or not, it's up to them. But, you can learn about everyone's world by just going on social media. That's the beauty of it. It's a gift and a curse. Some people, it's like, it can be an addiction because you're just like on that shit forever. And like you ain't paying bills, you ain't your job or whatever. But if you can use it effectively, you will be networking, you will be commenting, you will be liking, you will be resharing photos, you will be getting inspired, you will be motivated to do more of your shit. You'll be out there to propel and maximize your potential as a creative individual. And I feel like that's what all of us are doing. Like all the method makers, all the artists in the design lab, we're all doing that. And that's why we have secret groups. That's why we go on the adventures that we go on. That's why we collaborate with the method makers. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, thank you for that advice. And on that note, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, TK, for taking the time to be with us today. Shout out to you and your hustle, your grind, everything that you've shared with us today. We really appreciate you, and humbled.
Yeah, man. Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise, brother.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'll catch you.
Yes. All right. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for listening to this edition of the Method Makers Podcast. Be sure to check out themethodmakers.com to learn more about all the artists that we support. Check out all the additional links below to dive deeper into the projects the artist is currently working on. Remember to subscribe to our podcast for your constant dose of the Method Makers, courtesy of the Method Made Design Lab. Peace to you and yours, and we'll catch you soon.